You need to realize something. You exist on purpose. You're not an accident. You're not a mistake. Even if your parents tell you that, they're just being goofballs. They're not realizing how valuable you truly are. Um, you're so valuable that your parents are here, and when they had a kid, you were accepted through Christ. It took me a while to understand that I was not an accident, but I wasn't planned. Now, a lot of kids are not planned, okay? And it's difficult for the kids. It's difficult for them to understand that, and it's hard. It's not easy for us to get or understand. And it's okay, and look at my hair, it's a mess, just like life. Right? You know, life is a maze. Be amazed. Right? I know, cringe. Be goofy. Be funny. Be weird. Be awkward. Be you. That's why I like you. Do not change. Stay same. Because the way you are is the way you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be different. If you're the same as somebody else, then what are you, this ain't Halloween. This ain't no costume you're trying to be somebody else as. You need to be you. Life is going to be a trip down the market. There's all kinds of things that are going to be open and exposed and there and tempting, and you want it. You think you need it. Wants and needs are two different things. I know. I don't like that word either. But I want that candy bar. Even though you have ice cream at home, what's the point? Because it's right there. You want that person, but they don't love you like you love them. Well, that's a difficult task as well. We all go through things that we don't know how to handle, but we need to realize something. We have ourselves, we have God. When we go to Christ, we see all the value in ourselves. Because a lot of us want to fill in that empty gap, that empty void with love that we don't have because we think we're nothing. We need somebody. I've always felt that, you know, relationships in this generation are a trip. They are hard to find. It's hard to find someone that will click with you and be with you and match with you. It really is a difficult thing. And ever since I was 9 or 10, I've always wanted a girlfriend. I've always wanted a relationship. I've always wanted kids. I wanted kids and always wanted to name them Tom and Jerry. And I've always thought that was awesome. In preschool or kindergarten, I would always be saying that. My kids are going to be Tom and Jerry. And they're going to be running around like Tom and Jerry from the cartoon or movie or whatever, right? I've always thought about that. And I've always wanted just to hold someone's hand and know what that felt like. I've always wanted to sit with someone, lay with someone, walk with someone, drive with someone. Having someone come home that's a familiar face that you deeply love and know is something I've always wanted. And I still want to this day. And a lot of us want to change. A lot of us want to be something else so we fit in to what they want. If you are yourself, you are going to find the person for you that matches with you, clicks with you, and it's like the best. If you are not yourself and you find somebody, when you're finally yourself, it's going to be a big surprise and it's going to make things complicated. You want to be yourself so you live happily. I'm a goofball. I'm annoying. I'm a nerd. But I love that about myself because I'm funny, I'm goofy, I'm positive. I can have a huge smile that can impact others. I can give off positive energy in the room to motivate others. Our relationship takes time. I'm still a virgin, which is amazing. I wait for my future wife, whoever that will be. But I love being patient because I see all the opportunities. I see all the options out there, even though I don't like having options. Because there's a lot of women out there and there's a lot of guys out there for you women. Women are the most beautiful, wonderful thing ever. They're the creation of art, right? Women are amazing. They are genuine. They're courteous. They're kind. They're gentle. They're soft. They're smart. And they have that personality that's adorable. And That's how I can describe perfect. Women, it's a hard word to say, it doesn't exist, but women are the most beautiful thing that God ever created. You know, Women give off a feeling that you'll never feel. And, you know, I've been rejected a lot in my life, and it hurt. I've been harassed, I've been teased, I've been left, I've been abandoned, I've been rejected a lot. A lot. You know, but what I deeply want is someone that wants me for who I am, for how much I talk, how loud I am, how goofy I can be. Am I annoying? Yes, I am. But I'm aware of it, and I won't change myself for any woman because of who I am is who I am. If I try to change myself, that's complications, that's confusion, that's pain, that's low effort, you know. And if I want kids, I gotta be myself to motivate my kids to be themselves so they're not insecure, so they don't need to worry about changing. Because that's the thing about this generation. So much of this world, this darn weird sphere, motivates us somehow to change. We shouldn't. And I'm not talking about like your body and gender and stuff like that. I mean like personality. Like, for example, I've always wanted to change into a tough, serious man. But deep inside, I'm this goofy, sweet, innocent, gentle, soft, peaceful guy. And I've always felt weak because of that, right? I'm this fit guy that's funny and goofy, but deep inside, I'm very soft and gentle and peaceful. And I've always thought, well, what the heck? That's weak. But I'm not weak. I've survived 22 years without drinking, smoking, doing drugs, laying with anybody. I'm clean, I'm a virgin, I'm ready to be with whoever my wife will be and live on for eternity with Christ by following through faith and love and peace. Through everything with any battle, prayer will defeat and keep me and my wife together for eternity. Life is a one-time thing. I'm happy, I'm patient. I get to see more with even detail that tells me what's right for me, what's right for them. There's been a lot of girls that I would really, really like to be with, but a lot of those girls are happier with other options, with other people, and this is what I want for my future wife, or any person in particular. I want that person to be happy, but through faith and love and peace, right? That's what I want. Like, if you're happy with somebody else, that's what I want. I don't want you with me if you're not happy. I've had some women feel bad because they would feel that. But no, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to overreact because I have a huge heart. But happiness is what I want for every single person. I want you to be happy for the person you want. This world is full of sadness. If there's that one person that gives you that happiness in the right way, in a healthy way, through faith, go for it. Don't hesitate. That's a sign that God says that's the person for you. And I've always felt that with women, but I ask myself, I gotta do it with a woman. I can't just think, oh, that's for me, because what would they think of me, right? That's selfishness, and I'm not selfish. So I go to myself and go, God, if that person's for me, then you lead them towards me, and I'll walk up to them, and that's how we can kind of create something. I've always been a shy, insecure person, for sure, but I'm an extrovert, I'm a goofball, I'll be in the room loud as ever, you'll know I'm there by what I dress, as you can tell with my fashion. I'm very noticeable, but I'm insecure of, how I look, how I sound, what I can, kind of bring to the table of being a goofy guy. I'm a clown, but, that's the thing. I went through a lot in my life. I have sadness here and there for sure. I get down in my moments and I have depression. But, I'm wise enough to stay clean throughout my whole life and stay alive and laugh it off and go, you know what? The past is graduation. I don't need to worry about that. The moment's the only thing I can change. Like in these 5 minutes, I just made up, you know, all these words I'm saying right now, not made up, but I said these words that I wanted to say on the screen, even though I made up all these things in life of wanting to become big and this and that. And that can kind of be overwhelming. I want to help people so bad. I want to be enough for people. I want to be so many things. I have made up so many unrealistic goals, But maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. A lot of people always doubted me and put me down for sure, and it made me look like a little kid having unrealistic dreams. But, a lot of these goals were towards people to help them move forward and keep continuing and smile through pain. Because if you smile through pain and laugh off the pain, you are a legend. You're a beast. You're a boss. You're bad to the bone. And you need to keep doing that. There's so many people that are stuck. And I always sit down and think about that. Like right now, I'm like, gosh, darn it. How can I get to people, to motivate people to live and laugh and learn and like and love and keep going. Keep going. Your feet or your wheels, if you're in a wheelchair, don't feel left out because you can do this too. Keep rolling forward, keep walking forward. You have that directional path. You can keep going straight, keep going forward. That's the meaning of life. It's important to know. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be big. I've always wanted to change people's lives for the better. And actually I have. So it's not made up, actually. Never mind. To come to it. I've actually impacted a lot of people. A lot more than I thought I would. I impacted people's lives in great ways. I never knew I was that useful. I never knew. And that's one thing that can kind of put me down. Some people might not like. I do put myself down. I compare myself lower. I don't think I'm enough, and I don't see my values as people see in me. A lot of people see more in me than I see in myself. I look in the mirror a lot. I can look in the camera reflection, and all I see is a normal dude just trying to make a video, and when I make these videos, I can picture all the people watching the videos, either making fun of it, or looking towards it, or looking up to it, or learning something from it, because that's the responses I have gotten. But say if 99 people made fun of me, but one person loved my video and liked my video and looked up to my video and it changed them how they felt in a good way, the best thing? It takes one person to change everything. It takes one person to change the planet, one person to change this generation. One man or woman can change the world. One can change billions, but millions can't change one. That's how valuable the number one is. Jesus in the 99 went back for that one just to tell you how valuable that is. He celebrated with that one just to complete the 100. Number one is a very valuable number, but what should be your number one? I hope it's Jesus Christ. Because he'll wipe your cries when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're down, when you're depressed, when you're overwhelmed. It doesn't matter. Give it to Jesus. He'll fix your pieces. All of it. Happens again, go back to Jesus. Your depression, your stress is a reminder to go back to him. And when you're in marriage or in a relationship and you're feeling all these things, grab your spouse, pray together, and your pieces will be fixed by Jesus. That is the true way to live, my friends. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a journey. It is. But that's the adrenaline of getting up every morning just to feel that, the living, the life, the laughter, everything you have is right there. It's God. We have a phone, but we also have another phone. It's called our hands of prayer. Our hands of holding the Holy Spirit. The hands of knowing everything we can make. But be careful because you can also break. Be patient, be cautious, be protective, be safe with everything you do. Be you. If you're not going to be yourself, you're going to break yourself into something you're not. I tell a lot of people this, but be you. That's why I love you. That's why I like you. That's why I accept you. You're not perfect, but you're complete. But you're perfect in God's eyes. So keep going. You'll find the people that don't judge you for who you are, and that's the right people for you. That's how you're supposed to live life. You're supposed to find the people that accept who they are, because that's the way it should be. Through Christ, through faith, through love, through peace. Live, laugh, and learn. Listen, because you might learn a thing or two. And that's with everybody. So, you know what that means? Continue. Amen.